Stop talking.
Hey.
Stop talking people internet about patriarchy. You're in a bonnet. You're in a leopard skin bonnet. Your nails all out. Wearing as you feel like, how you feel like, what you feel like.
It's so annoying.
Same way you feel like.
Same way you feel like.
It's so annoying to me.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, and welcome to another edition of the Senate Shorts. I am your host, Neil, joined as always by my brother from another mother and your host, Derek.
Hill.
And together, we bring you another shorter version of the Senate podcast. And then, of course, the rose between the thorns, Dr. Carrie-Ann Peart.
Hi, people.
Let's not start our ceremony.
Yeah, man. So let's hear what Keita Rose, famous from her time on tonight's conversation, is metaphor them guys. It's and you know she's one of my favorites to critique. So let's hear what she has to say as well.
Didn't say anything wrong. A lot of women get married and pregnant in their early 20s before they actually know themselves and before they know what they actually want to do with their lives. A lot of it is because of the societal pressures that's placed on women. You can't wait until your 30s or 40s because then you'll be too old. And in your 20s, you shouldn't be worried about a career or your education or starting a business because then you might run the risk of losing an opportunity to be somebody's wife and have somebody's baby. And that's the stupid that was taught to us. Focusing on yourself, let alone building a career while you're taking care of kids and uplifting your husband is extremely difficult and sometimes unsatisfying. And as a woman, you are not allowed to say that without facing a whole bunch of shame. But I don't give a shame. If you let what society says run your life, it will run you into the ground.
So shout out to Keita Rose. Big up my man O'Shea Duke Jackson for that clip as well.
Yes.
And I feel I need to say that what she's saying is not wrong.
No, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. No, she's not wrong.
The challenge she has with her argument is that, women do operate with the clock.
So that's an even bigger argument to what you were talking about earlier with patriarchy stuff, right? I don't know why we fight against this, because when you strip it down to bare bones, what we're talking about with a patriarchy is systems, structure, routine,
order.
Discipline.
Be careful, Doc. Be careful.
Hold on.
You sound like a pick me now.
There is, guess what? Structure, routine, order to your biology as a man and as a woman. So the whole thing about how society wants to pressure us into having children early is because society knows that for us as women, there is only but so much time because it's biologically structured, ordered, routine that way. And a lot of what we're talking about in the pieces that we're covering here, right? The frustration of women rushing to have children, it's a very real thing, because we succumb to the pressures of, okay, well, let me hurry up and do this because society tells me I will have no more time because when I'm 40 and pregnant, oh my God, who does that? Lo and behold, many women do that, and they've been doing it for time immemorial. But it's not celebrated or honored in the same way as if you're 25 and having a child. Mind you, within a structured relationship. Notice I'm framing that. Because recklessness is a totally different thing. And we know this. But we cannot get away, and this is something that I feel very sad about, that we don't acknowledge the fact that we are biologically built to follow order, structure, flow, routine in just different ways. And are fighting against that, because we talk about other things, can be seen as us coming out of structure, out of order, which then compromises our emotional and mental well-being, simply put. So working against these things oftentimes is to our own demise. And where I'm seeing it in terms of just even my clients that I serve and the rates of burnout amongst my female clients and the disassociated feelings and all of that. Because we've been pushing against order for too long, and here we are.
But no, I can play a little devil's advocate. First, before I get any devil's advocate, shout out to my girl Keita Rose that got a wired microphone in a car. She has turned up the real confessions in the car, talking tripe in the car. She might, and she doing it. Anyhow, Doc, I am very glad you took it in that direction, and I find it very interesting when you talk about systems, right? But I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, because within a system, there's a level of rigidity that does not allow for expression. Some people may even say
To some extent, yeah.
that within that structure, it is a bit of a restriction, a confinement of individuality and expression, or you run the risk of doing that. So have a think on that, and let's talk about that.
Yeah. So this is the work I do, right? When I'm working with systems and and working with teams and individuals who are saying that my workplace, for instance, is too stiff. I can't express myself in this space. Da, 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 da. Here's the thing, right? The system is large, very large, very, very large. And it does allow for rigidity in certain points, like at work. There's a certain set of rules that you have to abide by, right? You go to certain restaurants, you have to wear shoes, for instance, right? You can't barefoot or in slippers in certain restaurants, right? There are certain spaces in which rules exist or boundaries exist. The system also has other spaces where you can express, where you can wear the flip-flops or the cut-off shorts or go bareback and them kind of things, right? Where you can wear brightly colored hair and or braids and all the things and celebrate yourself accordingly. Yes, it exists, and it exists in those spaces for a time. This is what I'm saying. The thinking that it's going to go on and on and on and on and on, and the overextension and the pulling out and the drawing out of certain things, that lends to what I'm talking about in terms of the burnout, right? The fighting against the system because you think that in every single corner of the system, this must just carry on. So I can just wear flip-flops in every single corner. No, that will hurt you. It will hurt you. Because what we're working with, there are universal systems, there are universal laws that we are working with. And there are flexible points to those laws. And there are other points that are not so much flexible because order has to be maintained, safety has to be kept.
No, I find it very interesting, right? I love the answer that you gave, because within the structure and framework that we're talking about in our society, as it has progressed over the centuries, the decades, etc., there have been flex points, right?
Absolutely.
There was a point in time you could not go to school with your hair plait. You could not wear locks in at work. You could not be a bank teller or manager and have dreads, beard. You understand what I mean? You could not be a doctor practicing medicine with a beard, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those
I couldn't be a
times
doctor because of this color.
could not be a woman, could not be a black woman, could not be a, you know what I mean? Like, so there is a time and space to buck against the system and challenge the system.
Correct.
So that we can relook the rules of the system and have it be more accepting and have that level of expression for everybody to take part in that system, right? And I think that that's why the word patriarchy does bother me so much. We have a system right now. Is the system perfect? No, we are not talking about perfection. No system will ever be perfect, right?
Yeah.
I go back to the Matrix all the time, where Agent Smith said the first Matrix that we ever had for human beings was a utopia, and y'all could not process it. Y'all could not process having a society where there was nothing, there was no challenge or no struggle or anything like that, right? So they had to come up with something that was more lifelike and realistic, where there's conflict, struggle, etc. Shoot, the best movies that they have, when they teach you to write a movie, it has conflict and struggle, right? That is that is the beauty of humanity. Struggle helps us to evolve and to become more, right? But what I'm saying is, when you talk about patriarchy and you talk about having that perfect system of society, we got to be very careful with how we challenge and how we go about doing certain things, because we have to have a certain level of order and a certain level of structure, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't just go about not knowing how we are going to accomplish something and not having a plan for something, especially when we are talking about a society of millions and billions of people, right? So there is an order, there is a structure. Shoot, and the thing about human existence is we are limited. So some of the order and structure of the universe, we don't even understand, right? I learn something every day when it comes to the systems and structures of the universe, right? But we have to be careful how we decide to push against it. You talk about patriarchy. You talk about you having this male-driven system, set of rules and systems that push down and oppress women in 2025. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's not to the extent that you're thinking, because you are able to express yourself freely and openly and address anywhere and move anywhere and do anything.
Yeah.
You as a Black woman can do anything you want in the Western world. Maybe in some context in the Eastern side of things, but we live in the West. We can talk about the West. You can do almost anything you put your mind to in the Western hemisphere. Everybody now can easily access the world at large and give their opinion and expression. I'm wondering if it is almost that you're manufacturing the struggle and the conflict. So something that it may sound funny,
but is a currency.
It's a currency because human evolution is our history is rife with having overcome struggle, having overcome conflict, right? That is just how we are. We are messy organisms that have struggle, have conflict. We rising above. We had world wars. Right? People say, yo, it come to a head when somebody drop a nuke and the man said a nuclear bomb. Oh boy, that is 100,000 people dead in 2 minutes. No, that is we got to have some accords. We have to have some sort of set of rules so that you can't just bust these missiles whenever you feel like. You bust a gun when you feel like, right? Even the same thing with wars. You cannot just up and decide to go to war. And if you do, there are consequences and repercussions for that. So there are systems. There are systems. And systematic structures are not inherently bad.
No.
Structures and systems are only bad when it oppresses a large group of people. But you have to understand this system is only but 8 billion people on this planet, and we got to manage 8 billion people and expectations and livelihoods of all 8 billion of these people. They got to eat, they got shelter, they got to live in safety. They have all sets of rules you have as a human being. But you get upset because what? You can't, when you gonna whole boat, you getting upset. You say, oh, the whole boat with me and the talking about me. Shoot, a whole face for a man and a woman is a terrible thing. The worst thing you can tell a man when he down and out and struggling is, tell him we gonna food saying strange here, man. That's a problem. That is not healthy. There are systems and structures in place. People don't like the Bible because it speaks toward a level of
accountability
and structure. Right? No, do I agree with everything in the Bible? No. Do I think that because the Bible will talk about stoning people. When you do certain things, stone them. Right? I don't believe in that. But
Old Testament stuff.
Yeah, that's fire and brimstone.
But that is the structure that they had at the time. Now we jail them.
And
right?
that is the perfect
context.
And that's the perfect example of there being shifts in the system to make it more fair,
contextually appropriate.
And contextually appropriate. Thank you very much. Yeah. Because the Bible talks like the Old Testament is a rough scene. Shoot, the three of us here, if the Old Testament came through to 2025 and the rules and regulations and the way of doing things, none of the three of you will be here. None of the three of us will be here talking about nothing. What we be talking about? They will got internet and they will got microphones and cameras, but not we. No, boy. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Shoot, as a matter of fact, because we got Carrie on here, the man might say, no. I say believe for them. Say believe for all them. Let me serious about this thing here. So I know this was a long-winded rant, but the reason why it frustrates me to hear about patriarchy is because there has to be some level of structure, and within that structure and system, there has to be a level of accountability. We can't just be out here doing it as we feel like.
I also want to remind us that a patriarchal system exists. We're currently all navigating that, right? And the ones that we are looking at now as leaders, i.e. these male leaders, right? Because we always attribute this thing to male domination, equivalent to patriarchy. And I would say that many of us across the globe agree that it is currently going badly. It is foolishness. The egos and the who can piss further and all of that is happening right now. And I think globally we can agree it is ridiculous. It is just too much, right? So it's when people talk about the patriarchy, we have to understand that even in that system is it malfunctions. Systems malfunction, you know. They don't always operate smoothly.
Especially when you have a cog in that system or a fuse
Exactly.
that runs the system
That runs the
is
system.
faulty or not doing
And this is what
right
we're
by the system.
experiencing. And this is what we're experiencing. Currently, there are parts of the machine that are not working smoothly with the other parts, right? It is not necessarily always oppressing just one segment. Right now, everybody going through it. Everybody is going through it. So that also has to, we talk too much about it and not recognize the actual context and expanse of it.
And I am glad you bring that up, because really quickly before I let Derek jump in, right? We've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. The definition of patriarchy as of Oxford, everybody read Oxford,
English
right?
dictionary.
Exactly, everybody read Oxford, right? Patriarchy, the system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is traced through the male line. Or it could be a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded. Patriarchy is a society or community organized on patriarchal lines. Now, here's my real issue with the word patriarchy, right? Because in the West, this here in the West, and dare I say the East too, but we can focus on the West, right? We here in Barbados live in a space where we have, or had, because the president has changed.
Just changed.
We had a female prime minister, a female deputy prime minister, and a female president, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody in Barbados should be talking about a patriarchy. Why? Because our system of government is none of the three things that we mentioned there. In the United States, the same thing. They don't have no descendant of men and thing holding power, and women get excluded from power and all this and all of that and all the third. In Europe, England, all them countries, we don't. Germany had a female prime minister or president too. Trinidad, I could go on and on and on. The point remains is that when we use the word patriarchy, right? The next time I hear a woman say patriarchy and they got the chance to ask, what do you mean by patriarchy? How are you excluded?
How are you using it? Correct.
How are you using it? How is it that is, and that's why I said before, patriarchy has now been the new pseudo word for oppression and violence against women. And that is not true, not in 2025, because women are included in so many spaces and places, rightly so, as they should, because they are part of the society. It is not no longer my father was prime minister and his father was prime minister or king or president. And come down the line. Shoot, even in the England, the royal family ain't got no power like that here.
They don't.
It's only ceremonial and traditional.
It gets.
Exactly. So let us stop with this word patriarchy, because it makes it seem as though men are really out here conniving in dark rooms.
Some are.
But let us be honest.
Not all.
There are some, but I want to be clear. When you talk about me and Derek, this benefit from patriarchy, I just gotta be like, how I benefited from patriarchy?
I'm going to work every day struggling.
Me and you can work. Me and the doctors go work same way, or same living. You understand me? Shoot, she probably get more favor because she is a woman. So it baffles me when we talk about patriarchy, and it baffles me when we start to talk about patriarchy equals systems, equals rigidity, equals lack of expression or control of expression, equals to oppression, and women are the sole victims of it.
At the end of the day, nothing grows without order, right? Nothing grows. There has to be order. There going to be structure, and it seems a lot of people want to get away from that, and they use the word patriarchy as a blanket to cover anything that has to do with order and structure. But without order and structure, there can't be no growth to nothing. There has to be an order. There has to be structure if you want to improve in any area of life, in any field of endeavor. There has to be an order. There got to be a structure. Sure, I got a group. We can rehearse this evening. We can rehearse again later in the week. I got a choir. I rehearse with them every Wednesday. Right? And you can set your clock by the time we can start and finish. Because there has to be order. Right? I guess we're not to toot my own horn to say my groups is the best groups in Barbados. So, I mean, you achieve that by putting in the work. It's commitment and discipline, aka sacrifice. Show up to the dog.
women have benefited from the patriarchy.
And continue to.
And we continue to.
Because patriarchy is not as menacing and ominous as it has
not.
always been. Because patriarchy in the last 50 years, I mean, also
It's
because
not.
of women, because of feminism too, because let me give women with the feminism and the movement to get votes and be able to do certain things and work and education and stuff like that. But the women kept noise because they saw a flaw in the system.
And the patriarchy responded.
The patriarchy responded. Women are far more protected than men. Far more.
Yeah.
In every facet. And I'm not saying that to say it shouldn't be like that or is unfair or anything like that, but I'm saying
so far protected that we do the harm to ourselves.
You understand? And the harm you always do is protected now. Because
it's so crazy.
Because here's the thing now. You could go right now. You could go right. Sleep with 3 harm men. 3 harm men. Boom, boom, boom. In 30 days. 10 men a day. Right? You look at the men. Bam, 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 bam. Right?
Oh, shit.
And then you could come to the internet and say,
yeah,
I sleep with 3 harm men.
Yeah.
And how dare you judge me wrong? How dare you look for me different? You are protected.
It's
so
wild.
I don't understand the word patriarchy in 2024. I do not understand it. I cannot understand it. When a woman could hold a concert, right, and wear neck skin to nothing and twerk and ride a man and do all sorts of things, how is this a patriarchy? And before y'all come at there, oh, but Chris Brown and Usher, but it's a patriarchy, right? So men are expected to have that exclusive right to do these things, but you don't. What exclusive right we got here in 2025? What? Me and Derek, we are men.
There's no exclusive rights.
How are we? What exclusive right me and Derek got over the dog?
None. I can have multiple partners at the same time. That was once upon a time a man thing, right? I can wear pants. I can wear a tie. I can wear cologne if I choose to. I don't have to wear perfume, right? I can cut off all my hair if I want to. I can have multiple children. There are no exclusive. I can say today.
I ain't necessarily gonna take care of them either.
No, I don't have to take care of them.
Put them up for doctors.
We see how many women do that. Cool, huh? Yeah, we see how many women do that. There's no exclusivity, and that is what is damaging. There's no exclusivity to masculinity, and there's no exclusivity anymore to femininity.
It is an attack on the system of order and structure. Because if you can have people truly believe that structure and order does not make sense in the society, you can do anything to the society. You could do anything.
And here's the thing that we don't recognize, right? When the system baits you in that way, it's baiting you in that way so it can eventually segregate and eliminate you, because the system only wants the strongest of the strongest.
That's right.
So if you get baited so easily to go and do all this, no worries. We've got you marked. Move you one side. Let's keep rolling over here. So with the people who understand. That's exactly what is happening. And it has been happening for years.
Yep.
And we turn fool and not recognizing it.
The system is plug and play, right?
Yeah.
It is plug and play. But the problem is we plug in. We'll plug in. Before, hundreds of years ago, 100 years ago, it was plug in that men were the dominant, whatever, the women they got the brains and all sorts of things. Yeah. And we take out that plug and we said, no, that's foolishness. Let me put in saying that make more sense. But no, we got to be careful, because if people trying to take out that plug and put in, do as you feel like, go as you please, like Suki.
Right. It's wild.
You know, this is 2025. As my mom passed, if you would tell them,
do what you feel like doing.
For me, man, we ain't subscribing to that.
Not nearly. Yeah.
This has been a short, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to ensure you don't miss any of the content we got coming for you. We can see you guys again very soon. Peace.
It's a contaminated environment. And the tutu's about that.